This is the reason I am not under a truck today. In many ways.
I remember calling you. Yeah, I used to call you from Norton and the Freightliner. This is Chuck. So I'm sorry I'm not Amy Hempel. Well, you know. But the way I see this, Chuck, is I see this as like a Frost-Nixon thing. You know, I'm David Frost, you're Richard Nixon, and at the end of our conversation, I want an admission of guilt and an apology to the American people.
Dream on.
Yeah. Well, we were going to have Edward Hibbert up here. I don't know if any of you know, but Chuck's agent is Edward Hibbert, who is the only agent-actor hyphenate in New York City. You know him, or some of you do, as Gil Chesterton, the television critic in Frasier. But the thing about Edward is he suffers from crippling bouts of shyness, and so he could not. He wouldn't come up with us, and it's
He's
such a shame.
practically a shut-in.
Yeah, it's really a shame. Anyway, here's the deal. I've worked with Chuck since 1995, approximately. I published Fight Club when I was at Norton. In the introduction or the afterword to Fight Club, I believe you referred to the advance that we offered as "fuck you money." But Chuck, you're wrong. It wasn't "fuck you money." It was more like, to me, it was like, "Oh, if you really have to money."
I was told that when several editors at Norton read Fight Club as a submitted manuscript, a very unsolicited manuscript.
Well, no, it was agented. Come
they
on.
cried.
No, they didn't cry.
People said that the people hadn't finished it. They were so upset by it.
Well, they sort of gave me funny looks at the editorial meeting. But with the "fuck you" money, a lot of good things happened. I mean, eventually it turned into an $85 million movie, which is, gee, is this a great economy or what? And we've done 9 novels together. And by the way, folks, 4 million copies of Chuck's books have been sold in the United States. And you know what? I'm actually allowed to have fun in publishing with you, which is like, it's just like publishing is just like a no fun business now. You know, I have to read about a goddamn Kindle every morning. And it's just like, you know, but this is fun. The thing I like about your work, aside from the fact that it makes me laugh, and although, you know, our cat died, so I don't have asthma anymore. So I really don't, but I had like an asthma. It was like I knew how good the book was and how many times I had to use my inhaler while I was reading it. And I said, man, this is a 10-hit novel. Anyway, I don't have asthma anymore, so I have. Here's the thing I like about Chuck's work aside from the asthma attacks. It's how predictive the work is. That, you know, Fight Club just captured this sort of inchoate, white-collar male rage that nobody really had identified or given form to, and you know, that became a generation-defining book. Now, Survivor is an interesting case because that was about the last member of a cult, most of whose members, or all, or some of them had off themselves. And you sent me that manuscript, and while I was editing it, that cult, what were they called? Come on, people. No, the real ones. The real people who
The
killed themselves.
Hilltop people in San Diego.
Yeah. They went and they offed themselves, and I thought, oh, Chuck, are you causing this, or are you just seeing it? And here's the thing I really remember. I remember once, he's full of terrific fresh information. So I think one time, it must have been like 2000, you said, oh, and people are taking botulism toxin and having it injected into their eyebrows so that their face will be paralyzed and their wrinkles will go away. And I said, oh, come on. Oh, that's like never going to happen. Oh, you're just pulling my leg, Chuck. Right? So if you want to consider, you read Pygmy and just think about that. And all right.
Welcome to the future.
Yeah. So I get to ask you the questions that I actually have never asked you before. Here's one. What were your favorite books as a kid, as a teenager, as a college student? The books that really got into your imagination and that perhaps even turned you into a writer. What did you love?
We had those Scholastic books that you could send for like 40 cents.
Nothing? You didn't read?
Yeah. We had a big, fat collection of Edgar Allan Poe stories.
Right.
And I would read those a lot.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't admit it until I just read that Flannery O'Connor, also when she was a child, was obsessed with Edgar Allan Poe short stories. So Edgar Allan Poe short stories were really big. Oh, those Grimm's fairy tales. Oh my God, where it was always the little match girl who had a box of matches and it was really cold, so she lit the matches one by one, and each time she lit a match, she was surrounded by like a banquet hall and a moment of glory, and then she died. No, that was the one about the tin soldier and the paper ballerina, and they were in love. Oh, and then the ballerina fell in the stove and burned up, and the tin soldier melted down. Okay. No, and then there was the one about the statue of the prince. It was a beautiful statue covered with gold, and it had emerald eyes and ruby lips. And there was this beautiful, sweet little sparrow, and winter was coming. And the statue said, "Little sparrow, my people, the people of my kingdom, they're starving and winter is coming. You must pull off my ruby lips and give them to the poor." And the sparrow said, "I can't pull off your lips." And the statue said, "You must." And the sparrow ripped the lips off the statue and gave them to the poor. And then the statue said, "You've got to pull my emerald eyes out and give them to the poor." So the bird did that. And then the bird said, "I got to go. Winter is here." And the statue said, "No, you got to rip off all my gilding and give it to the poor." And so the bird did that, and by the time the bird did that, it was too cold, and the bird died, and the statue was so ugly, they pulled it down and they melted it to make cannons. The end. And then my parents were surprised I wrote books like Fight Club. Every childhood story I had ended hideously. The end.
Yeah, well, and it's a straight line from that to Haunted, which is, of course, an homage to The Mask of the Red Death, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. See? So read, kids.